Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sharifanur Mawazaranisha and my matrix number is 1251023. Today I will be presenting the federal court case of Rosiza binti Ibrahim versus Kerajaan Negeri Selangor and others. The objective of the presentation are to analyze the federal court's decision, to examine the respective jurisdictions of civil and Sharia courts, and to identify the legal principles governing to determination of a person's religious status. Next, we move to the facts of the case. Rosiza was born in 1981 to Ibrahim, a Muslim, and Yap Ahmad, a Buddhist. When applying for her identity card, Ibrahim registered Rosiza's religion as Islam. However, Yap later declared that she had never married Ibrahim and that Rosiza had never been brought up as a Muslim. The evidence before the court supported these declarations. There was no record of any marriage between Ibrahim and Yap. Rosiza herself affirmed that she had always practiced Buddhism, and an independent witness confirmed that she had been raised in the Buddhist faith. Consequently, Rosiza applied to the High Court for declarations that she was an illegitimate child, that she was not a Muslim, and that the Sharia court had no jurisdiction over her. After that, I will talk about the court decisions. The High Court dismissed her application and the Court of Appeal upheld that decision. However, the Federal Court unanimously allowed her appeal and set aside the earlier judgment. The Federal Court held that the information contained in an identity card is not conclusive proof of a person's religion. The court found that there was no evidence of a valid marriage between Ibrahim and Yap, and therefore concluded that Rosiza was an illegitimate child who had been raised as a Buddhist. At first glance, this case may appear to concern apostasy. However, the Federal Court clarified that the real issue was whether Rosiza had ever been a Muslim in the first place. This distinction is crucial because it determines which court has jurisdiction. If a person seeks to renounce Islam, the matter falls within the jurisdiction of the Sharia court. In contrast, where the claim is that the person was never a Muslim, the civil court has both the authority and the duty to decide the matter. This distinction is significant because it protects individuals from being wrongly subjected to the jurisdiction of the Sharia court merely on the basis of administrative records. The Federal Court emphasized that a person's religious identity must be established through credible evidence and in accordance with the Constitution. In this way, the decision promotes both legal certainty and fairness in determining a person's status. Next, the legal provision involved in this case first is Article 121, Clause 1A. The court first referred to Article 121, Clause 1A of the Federal Constitution, which separates the jurisdiction of the civil and Sharia courts, and Item 1 of the state list in the Ninth Schedule, which empowers the state to legislate on matters of Islam and establish Sharia courts. Next, Section 41 of the Specific Relief Act 1950. Rosiza brought her claim under Section 41 of the Specific Relief Act 1950, which allows the High Court to grant declaratory relief. The court then applied Regulation 24 Clause 1 of the National Registration Regulations 1990, emphasizing that the particulars in an identity card are not conclusive proof and may be rebutted by evidence. Lastly, the court considered Section 111 of the Islamic Family Law, State of Selangor, Enactment 2003 to determine Rosiza's legitimacy and paternity, and Section 2 of the Administration of the Religion of Islam, State of Selangor, Enactment 2003 to determine whether she fell within the statutory definition of a Muslim. Next, the importance of this case is a landmark constitutional decision because it clearly delineates the jurisdiction of the civil and Sharia courts and reinforces that a person's religion status must be determined on the basis of proper evidence rather than merely on administrative records such as an identity card. In conclusion, the Federal Court allowed the appeal, declared that Rosiza was not a Muslim, and affirmed that the civil court has jurisdiction where a person claims that he or she was never a Muslim. That's all from me. Thank you.